You're about to see exactly what you've waited for. Donald Trump's latest clash with ABC is going viral because it's reminding people of the old school Trump from his first term, taking down corporate media journalists like no one else can. I've picked some of my favorite moments from this interview, and you'll see how things start to heat up as it progresses.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth.
I think he's going to be a very good hopefully a great defense secretary, but he'll be a very good defense secretary.
You have 100% confidence in Pete Hegseth?
I don't have 100% confidence in anything. Okay, anything. Do I have 100%? It's a stupid question. Look,
it's a pretty important position.
No. You don't have 100%. Only a liar would say I have 100% confidence. I don't have 100% confidence that we're going to finish this interview.
We will.
Let's go.
You think Vladimir Putin wants peace?
I think he does, yes. I think he does.
Do you trust him? Do you trust him?
I don't trust you. I don't trust a lot of people. I don't trust you. Look at you. You come in all shooting for bear. You're so happy to do the interview.
I am
and
happy.
Then you start hitting me with fake questions. You start telling me that a guy whose hand is covered with a tattoo doesn't have the tattoo. You know.
All right.
I mean, you're being dishonest.
No, I'm not. No, I am not, sir.
Do I trust? I don't trust a lot of people. There was a lot of fraud. Fraudulent things were taking place. And we ended that, and those people are going to be suffering because of it.
A legal note, fraud is a crime. There have been no referrals to the Justice Department on any of
Well,
this.
you don't know that, do you? How do you know that?
Have there been referrals to the, are there criminal referrals?
How would you know that there were no referrals? I think there were referrals.
They generally, all right, there's been no investigation from the Justice Department.
How do you know that?
I'm asking you, sir.
No, you're not asking me. You made a statement. You're not
now I'm asking you.
That was a statement that you made. There had been.
I'm asking you.
Have there been? Yes, there have.
So there have been referrals for fraud from the work of
Of course there have been. Take a look at some of these things that took place.
Right.
Billions of dollars were given to people for no reason whatsoever.
Honestly, that wasn't a good look from Terry Moran because this was actually a common thread throughout the interview. He would frame something as a statement and then immediately rephrase it as a question when challenged by the president. Besides, don't you want to see where Trump's frustration is coming from, especially with questions like, do you trust X person, or what if Putin doesn't really want peace? These are hypothetical questions about all the things that can go wrong in the future as a deflection tactic from focusing on what's important now. I remember something similar happened when a reporter last month asked this.
What are you saying?
She's asking, what if Russia breaks the ceasefire?
What if anything? What if a bomb drops on your head right now? Okay? What if they broke it?
By the way, this is a great time to subscribe and hit the notification bell because we've got some things in the pipeline you don't want to miss. Now, the truth is, I don't think Donald Trump is afraid of a few heated interviews. He's been doing this his entire life and basically taken down the entire corporate media in the last decade. What irks him more is that you basically saw no one from the corporate media challenging Joe or Kamala Harris as a candidate in the same way.
Do you think the reputation of the United States has gone down under your presidency?
No, I think it's gone way up, and I think we're a respected country again. We were laughed at all over the world. We had a president that couldn't walk up a flight of stairs, couldn't walk down a flight of stairs, couldn't walk across a stage without falling. We had a president that was grossly incompetent. You knew it, I knew it, and everybody knew it, but you guys didn't want to write it because you're fake news.
All right. Thank you.
And by the way, ABC is one of the worst, I have to be honest with you.
Thank you for the opinion.
This is priceless. Remember late last year when ABC News had to basically bite the bullet and come to an embarrassing settlement against Donald Trump for $15 million for an interview misrepresenting Trump's legal cases? For many, that's a microcosm of what's happening with Disney at large, not just with its news media arm, but also in entertainment. For too long, it tried to ride the wave of far-left cultural positions, not realizing that the tide had turned and they were sounding increasingly tone-deaf and elitist to most of their audience. But of course, now as part of a dying legacy media landscape, there's very little they can do for damage control at this point, other than just have a slow and managed decline. Watch as this conversation steers to the deportation drive, and there's a point here that's at least interesting.
Under our law, every single person who gets deported gets a hearing first to make their case.
Well, are we talking about people that are citizens of our country or not?
No, you aren't deporting citizens at this point.
Well, did we give them a hearing when they came in?
Well, the law requires that every single person who is going to be deported gets a hearing first.
Do you think we can give 21 million trials? Let's say each trial takes 2 weeks. Is that what you want us to do?
The law
Give
is the
21
law,
million?
sir. The law is the law, and you're
the law
sworn
doesn't
to
say anything
uphold it.
about trials.
No, not trials, hearings. I said
These
hearings.
people came in, they're not citizens, they came in illegally, they came into our country
Right.
illegally,
And
we
there's-
have to get them out.
There's a legal process for that.
I can't, sure, and we follow the legal process.
But in our country, even bad guys get due process, right?
If people come into our country illegally, there's a different standard. These are illegal, they came in illegally.
But they get due process.
Well, they get a process where we have to get them out, yeah.
This is such a tangled mess, to be honest, because there's literally no legal framework ever worked out to handle tens of millions of illegal immigrants pouring into the country in such a short amount of time. For reference, there's just around 700 immigration judges in the United States, serving at 71 immigration courts in the country. It's statistically impossible to launch such a massive deportation drive unless some unprecedented legal framework is created to deal with these unprecedented times. Because of course, the longer that these millions of illegal migrants stay inside the US, the more complicated their case becomes as they marry, have children, work jobs, etc. It's an absolute mess that the Trump administration really doesn't have a lot of time to work out. While the media, of course, is more than willing to use singular cases to push back against the entire idea of deportations, which led to an exchange like this over Abrego Garcia's case.
Listen, I was elected to take care of a problem. On his knuckles, he had MS-13.
There's a dispute
Well,
over that.
wait a minute. He had MS-13 on his knuckles
didn't say-
tattooed.
Oh, he had some tattoos that are interpreted that way. But let's move on.
Wait a minute.
I-
Hey, Terry.
He did not
Don't
have the
do that.
letter MS13.
It says MS-13.
That was Photoshop. So let me
That
just...
was Photoshop. Terry, you can't
had-
do that. Hey, they're giving you the big break of a lifetime. You know, you're doing the interview. I picked you because, frankly, I never heard of you, but that's okay.
I knew
But
this
I
would
picked
come.
you, Terry, but you're not being very nice. He had MS-13 tattooed.
We'll agree to disagree. I want to move on to something else.
Terry, do you want me to show you the picture?
I saw the picture. We'll
And you think it
agree
was
to disagree.
Photoshop? Well,
Here we go.
Don't Photoshop it. Go look at his hand. He
Fair
had
enough.
MS-13.
He did have tattoos that can be interpreted that way. I'm not an expert on them. I want to turn to Ukraine,
No,
sir.
Terry,
I want to get to
Terry,
Ukraine.
No. This is why
All right.
people no longer believe the news, because
when
it's
he was
fake
photographed
news.
in El Salvador, they aren't there. Look at
Why
that,
don't
sir.
you just say, yes, he does, and, go on to something else?
Now here's the image that Trump is talking about, and to be fair, this was a bit of a slip up from Donald Trump because this interpretive text with the letters of the English alphabet reading MS-13 is indeed photoshopped above the actual knuckle tattoos. We have no idea what these tattoos actually mean other than the fact that they are unusual and a sign of gang affiliation that at least the El Salvador government believes is enough to put someone in jail. That's really all you can definitively say at the moment about this because it doesn't seem like Abrego Garcia is coming back to the United States as both Donald Trump and President Nayib Bukele of El Salvador have seemed to agree.
Tariffs, right? We still have 145% tariffs on China.
why is it-
Your Treasury Secretary said we basically have an embargo on China.
Look, you're
and
trying
that-
to say something's going to happen,
no,
Terry.
No, okay, well,
nothing's going to happen.
You know business.
Terry,
I want to ask you.
Terry, I do know business.
Yes,
and
so 145% tariffs on China, and that is
That's good.
basically
That's
an
good.
embargo.
They deserve it.
It'll raise prices on
They
everything
deserve
from
it.
electronics to clothing to building houses.
You don't know that. You don't know whether or not China's going to
That's
eat
mathematics.
it. China probably will eat those tariffs, but at 145, they basically can't do much business with the United States.
Tariffs take much longer to reveal whether they've been a net positive, on top of the fact that most countries are already coming to the negotiating table, which will increase pressure for China to do the same. So I wouldn't take the corporate media's word for it prematurely, but let me know in the comments what you're thinking because these are debates that can have both positive or negative impacts on the lives of everyday Americans like you.